Yes, first and foremost, I would like to just say that if Miss Naon is wanting to enter politics, that she should get her facts right and she should know exactly what you're asking, which is the system of how things are done in government. For a start, I'd like to say that it's not an issue of tender. She mentions tender, direct allocation. This is nothing to do with it. It is to do with a private company wanting to do a function. She should know because the GSD used to do a lot of functions during their time in office. And the system is very simple, which is what your question goes to. The system is that a private company, any private entity, can do any event at any time. They go to either the GCS, which is cultural services, to hire out either the Central Hall, the Inces Hall, the Macintosh Hall. There is a fee for that. The fees are very set. They make an application, and in doing that, they also have to have insurance, they have to have security, and they have to have a certain criteria. So that is the system. The Tercentenary Hall is exactly the same. The GSLA does the booking.
But isn't it rather odd that both in 2013 and 2014, the prime functions, if you like, Christmas and New Year's Day, have gone to a company whose joint CEO is a member of the GSLP executive?
Well, but that can be the accusation for any company. I could also say that the Love Festival is done by people who are very close to the GSD. I mean, let's forget about whether it's the GSD or GSLP. It's a private entity that goes to a government institution like the GSLA and asks to do the event.
And have other people also requested this, or has it only been this one company?
No, this is the one company that started last year. Should I say the previous year, the year before, in 2013, like you mentioned, to do Christmas Day. And they wanted to do a function in Christmas Day. It happens to be in conjunction with the GSLY. Fine. But what I'm saying is that they go to the entity, they know the system. The GSD used to do that.
And what are the costs? Because you mentioned earlier that there was a rental fee.
Absolutely.
How much do they have to pay?
Well, the rental fee, it is not a rental fee, it is cost hire out. The word rental is probably not the right one to say. It is a hire fee. They have to pay for the overtime, they have to pay for the cleaning, they have to pay for the venue itself. There are many costs. Over £7,000 have been paid. Now, the GFSB is complaining about how much is paid on rent by privateers. Well, it is much more than a month's rent. So there is the cost. Not only that, but they are also told that they have to pay for security, cover of the floor, and insurance. And that has cost over and above the £7,000.
The police authority is currently undertaking its annual fact-finding exercise, asking the public their views on the performance of the Royal Gibraltar Police. The authority describes the survey as valuable, saying the issues highlighted are then included in the policing plan with targets set and monitored throughout the year.
The consultation survey aims to establish the community's concerns, with these then reflected in the subsequent policing plan. The questionnaire also asks for views on the performance of the Royal Gibraltar Police. Around 1,000 forms are completed every year. We put it to the authority whether they thought this represented a true reflection of issues of concern.
I believe so. Yes, I do. I think it's a good response from the surveys that we sent out and the surveys that we hand out on days like today.
One of the questions included in the questionnaire is that of confidence in the police. Do you think this is something that has improved and grown over the years?
I believe it has. I think it's in the last few years particularly it's been very strong. It's been very positive, which is very encouraging for the police and for the senior management of the police. I think one of the issues that's helped that is neighbourhood policing, which people want to see more of. They like to have that contact with their police officer, especially where they live in the neighbourhoods. So that's one thing that has encouraged or helped the confidence in the police.
Well, the GPA oversees the Police Complaints Board, so what is your involvement at present with recent allegations of bullying made against the police?
Well, we We have been involved in this process, in the investigation. I wouldn't like to discuss that matter today here, but we have been very involved. We take the allegations very seriously, and we will continue to be part of the investigation if the government and the governor so wish.
Previous surveys show that drugs and related crimes seem to be the main concern, an issue which worries the community, especially in relation to young people. Traffic is another of the recurring matters. Other issues vary from year to year, with dog fouling and disabled parking also raised in the past. The authority hopes the survey is wide-reaching.
We want as many people as possible. We want from a cross-section of society, so from the young to the old, all different sectors within Gibraltar, South District, North District, town area. We want to try and cover all our bases, and we do go and visit the schools. We go and visit Westside, Bayside and the college, and we ask the young to give us their opinion, which we value.
The GPA, which is an independent body of 10 unpaid members, aims to ensure high standards of integrity, probity and independence of policing locally. The information provided in the survey will be used on a confidential basis, forming part of the objectives and targets for the RGP between 2015 and 2016. Forms are available online on gpa.gi.
And we'll be back with more of this week's news after this break. Welcome back. A local man who admitted to shooting himself has been sentenced to 5 years and 2 months in prison for a £400,000 fraud and for perverting the course of justice. When 40-year-old Mark Gallia suffered a gunshot wound in Europa Point in January 2013, he originally told the police he'd been shot by another man. He is now admitted to shooting himself in the abdomen on the day he was due to pay back victims he had defrauded. At the time of the incident, Gallia was an officer with the Gibraltar Defence Police. At the Supreme Court on Friday, he pleaded guilty to 9 counts of fraud involving the purchase of equipment such as USB sticks, iPads and external storage devices, as well as a Range Rover. Chief Justice Anthony Dudley pointed out there had been multiple victims as a result of Gallia's actions and sentenced him to 5 years and 2 months in prison. A man who was arrested for allegedly stabbing a dog appeared before the magistrate's court this week. 70-year-old David Harrison pleaded not guilty of cruelty to an animal and not guilty of having a knife in his possession. The incident in question took place on New Year's Day near Catalan Bay. A 24-year-old local man, owner of the Staffordshire Bull Terrier that was allegedly stabbed, was also arrested on suspicion of causing damage to property. He has been released on police bail. Mr. Harrison's trial is scheduled for the 13th of February. An exhibition on the information age at the Science Museum in London has been the backdrop to a reception hosted by Gib Telecom. Among the 200 guests were representatives from major international telecommunications companies, as well as the Chief Minister, who is also Gib Telecom's chairman. The exhibition at the Science Museum, opened by the Queen, covers over 200 years of innovation divided into 6 zones that have changed the world: the cable, the telephone exchange, broadcast, the constellation, the cell, and the web. The company believes it can take its place as a state-of-the-art international company among the world's top players after years of investment and of developing its services. Its most ambitious and transformational project came to fruition in 2011. Now, one of the Diamond Boys, Louis Vinette, recently passed away. Louis was the drummer in the 1960s band which recorded music for British Parlophone and performed in nightclubs around Madrid. Gabriela Peralta spoke to Richard Cartwright about Louis and his time in the Diamond Boys.
Well, as a person, I think I met Louis before he joined the Diamond Boys. In fact, I had a bit of a girlfriend, was puppy love, 12 or 13 or 14 I must have been, and she liked him and went off with him. And I remember that about Louis. He'd always seemed cycling around. Older people would know about the Rudge bicycle and rally bicycles. Him and another friend, especially around Humphreys where he lived, always cycling around and always joking and in a confident mood, and I envied that a bit. But then at some stage, when Albert and I started, Albert and Richard, and we were doing parties and stuff, Albert decided we wanted to form a group, and Louis came on board. So that was the start of the Diamond Boys and Louis Vinette.
The band broke up in the early 1960s, but you did record some songs before that.
Absolutely, yes. We went off to Morocco in 1962, the summer of 62, to Casablanca and some other places, then went to Madrid and Torremolinos, and we were quite popular in Madrid with the youth, the concerts on Sunday mornings. We won some trophies and stuff there. And then we came back because Albert had this idea of wanting to do different stuff. And we were quite happy doing the Shadows and all these things. So we came back and the group broke up. And that was a big blow for Louis. I remember that. He used to mention it right up until recently. He said when he used to see us on Spanish television or read something about us, Albert and Richard or Alberto Ricardo, he'd really feel very envious because he was in the group with us first, and then it went nowhere. And I remember him being that way. And then eventually we came back, as I said, the group broke up in early 63, and we carried on. And Louis joined some other bands here in Gib.
Airfield Ground Support Unit with Mission to the Moon were the senior winners of this year's Three Kings Cavalcade. Transitions Dance Company with Moulin won the juniors. The parade got underway a little after 7:30 p.m. on Monday with 9 floats delighting crowds that had lined up the route of Main Street.
Well, this Casemate Square is the starting point for what looks to be a very colourful cavalcade for 2015.
There was no shortage of recognisable faces at the cavalcade this year, as it seems both the senior and junior sections had outdone themselves in 2015 with their floats. The winner of the senior section was Airfield Ground Support Unit with NASA's Mission to the Moon, which displayed a very impressive replica of the space shuttle.
Really good. After a few years to come first, it's fantastic. So, when did you come up with the idea and how long did it take to make? I mean, the idea was one of the guys up there, Michael, and it took about 6 months to actually do it. And I mean, it must have 6 months, a lot of hard work. What is it that you used to put together? I mean, about the hard work, everything is being done with cardboard, chicken wire, paper machine, and it's a lot of work.
Transitions Dance Company went all out with Moulin with an impressive set, costumes and dragons. They took the top prize in the junior section.
Delighted, of course, yes. We've had a very good year and this is the cherry on the top.
How long did it take and when did you decide to do this as a theme?
Well, this is based on a dance drama production that we did back in June. So since then we were thinking of doing the cavalcade. Last time we won first prize with the Lion King as well. So it's good that we've got 2 out of 2.
And you must all be very, very, very happy.
We are. The children are excited. They're all cheering because we won. So.
Second in the senior section was the very colourful Minions from Despicable Me 2, courtesy of the Fire and Rescue Service. And third was Frozen by the Family. In the junior section, second was Laguna Youth Club with Spirit of Christmas, and you can see why. And third was Company Guide with Candyland. As crowds eagerly waited for the cavalcade to begin, we could spot some beauty queens getting ready for the show to begin, along with Miss Gibraltar, Cheyana Sopardi. And of course, those 3 kings were there waiting to bring some festive cheer as the cavalcade got underway. And that's all for News Review. For more, you can head over to our website, gbc.gi/news. You can also find us on Twitter and on Facebook as well. Thank you very much for watching. From the team, good night.